Good day and welcome to the Ministry of Tourism special interview program, Tourism One-on-One, where we explore topical issues affecting the tourism sector as we continue to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Kingsley Roberts, your host, and with me today is President of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, Mr. Robin Russell. Welcome, Mr. Russell.
Thank you.
Today we examine how the local tourism sector has been rebounding from the impact of the pandemic. Firstly, Mr. Russell, what is the role of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association?
Well, we're an advocacy group for hotels and attractions in Jamaica, where we look to enhance the experience for guests, and sometimes you need to advocate for, different policies to make sure that tourism is in the right place.
Okay, and it's from the private sector standpoint.
Yes, we're a private sector organization.
And your members, could you just explain, what the membership looks like?
Mostly our members come from the hotel sector, but now we have what we call an allied sector, which includes transportation, all the tours, anything to do with, we have farms in it now. So really any industry that supplies the tourism industry can be a part of the JHTA. And that way we try to incorporate as many people into tourism as possible. And you can come through that integration through the JHTA.
So that speaks to linkages in tourism as well?
Oh, definitely. JHTA has been doing linkages long before linkages even came into linkages. So, some of our suppliers are like CPJ, people that really understand tourism and want to be a part of tourism, use the JHTA as a tool to get into it.
Okay. So how did the JHTA respond, when COVID-19 hit initially?
Well, fortunately, we had a president that wasn't me before, Mr. Reader, and he definitely set up a task force, with the stakeholders, because we needed to find a way to be open. We were on one side where we wanted to be open, and health was on the other side where they wanted to be closed. Obviously, for the interests of Jamaica, they wanted to be closed. And obviously, we wanted to be open because we saw the need that Jamaica needed to be open, and we needed to be where we are now sooner than later.
Right. So the task force you mentioned, that one was integrated into the broader task force for the sector itself that was established by the ministry.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
okay.
That task force was, again, led by Mr. Reader, where the tourism resilience corridor was set up, where different protocols were set up in the hotel. And we were able to work with the Ministry of Health in making sure that it was safe. And that is why Jamaica was able to open safely, because we didn't just do it without any kind of consultation. Mm-hmm. And it's through that consultation, I think we were able to achieve what we did, which was open safely. And some of that gain is what we're seeing now, why tourism has been able to rebound, because we were not reckless in how we did what we did.
Right. And you mentioned the task force, which was a public-private partnership. So you had the co-chairs, Mr. Reader, and then the other co-chair was the permanent secretary for the ministry, Jennifer Griffith, under the ministry's umbrella. So what was that experience like? You must have been involved. What was that process like with all those meetings and all that?
So there were meetings on top of meetings on top of meetings. And what I will say is everybody understood the importance of those meetings. So sometimes those meetings were at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd get a call at 8 o'clock at night. Oh, we have a meeting at 10 o'clock tonight. Mm-hmm. Get on this meeting, because there was a change. There's a new variant, or there is something coming out from WHO, and we needed to be on top of it. So it was meetings on top of meetings, but it was where everybody understood their role and the importance of having a voice in that meeting. And it's through that collaboration we were able to achieve what we were able to achieve.
So it's teamwork then?
Definitely. Oh, yes.
Success too. Interesting. In terms of the support for your members now, what type of support did JHTA provide to its members across the island during the pandemic?
Again, it was really just advocating for us being open. Mm-hmm. We were able to work through TEF to get PPE equipment in terms of garbage bins, in terms of hand sanitizer dispensaries, just different things to help us open temperature check guns, and a lot of information. We were able to disseminate the information of what COVID was, the safeguards. We were able to set up what we were able to use our own members and put them in communities to allow communities to also safeguard communities. We put that expertise out there through our members, and it really changed. We did masks, we distributed, I think it's 15,000 masks. So there were a lot of things that the JHTA were able to do during COVID to help the country to recover.
And your members would go into the communities, you're saying?
Oh yes,
and
because
spread the word about
exactly
for PPEs and protocols.
Remember that we have 170,000 direct employees in the tourism industry, and all of these people work and live in communities.
Right.
So they work at hotels and live in communities, and we were able to send those members of our industry into communities with equipment, with masks, with just information on how to best deal with COVID.
Mm-hmm. So generally speaking then, so now that we're somewhat seeing, some would say, a decline in the pandemic itself and the restrictions certainly, what type of support do you offer now for your members? Generally, you can speak to just stuff beyond COVID.
So the JHTA does many things in terms of tax negotiations, information. We meet with different airlines. We meet with different partners. We sit on boards where important decisions are made and the voice of the private sector is needed. Because I think that is what makes Jamaica very unique and very special, in that because we are a part of the decision making on a governmental level, in other words, they hear us, they listen to us, we have seats on the board, better decisions are made. We're able to advocate for, and again, it's just a wide variety of things, because tourism is so wide. Tourism is no longer just a waiter or waitress, it's IT services, it's, again, agriculture, it's all of these services that we're able to better inform what we need and how best to get it.
Oh, so it's an inclusive process. So you're in it from the get-go.
Definitely.
So you don't have to raise concerns on the back end.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So let me get your take now in terms of the recovery of the sector globally. What's your take on the recovery of the tourism sector internationally?
Well, the Caribbean, I would say, is leading the world in recovery. That is the last study that I saw. I think Jamaica was number 1 or 2 with rep in terms of the fastest to recover.
Right.
We have surpassed, or we're just about at 2019 numbers, which was our record year. The sector is doing very well in the Caribbean, but the other places in the rest of the world that have not fully recovered.
Right.
Asia is still lagging because of the restrictions in China, I'm assuming. Europe is still having their own challenges with the war and inflation. But the Caribbean has done an excellent job in how it has marketed to the rest of the world and how we have brought ourselves out of COVID. And because of that, we're the choice of the world right now in where to travel.
Okay. So just broadly speaking now, looking back at the pandemic from the early stages to where things are now, how do you think the experience of COVID-19 will impact how entities in the sector operate moving forward?
Well, if one word has come out of COVID is that we need to be cooperative in how we move forward. And I'm hoping that the sector learns from that. Both the government and the sector learns that for us to really achieve the goals that we want to achieve, we have to be cooperative. We have to work together, and working together will allow us to achieve those goals. And when I say working together, tourism needs to be more inclusive. So we need more Jamaicans involved in tourism. We need more Jamaicans who are able to make a livelihood out of tourism. We have shown where, when the hotels were almost closed, that a lot of Jamaicans did staycations. They visited the hotels and stuff. And that was important to us. But what is more important, and I would say to the JHTA, is that those same Jamaicans see the opportunity to make money.
Right.
Use that to see that same opportunity, knowing that there are going to be, I think, 4 million visitors to the island this year, and that's a big market. How do we provide a service to those 4 million people that we can make money out of? And when I say we, I say Jamaicans. So I would really encourage every single Jamaican to, I said it the other day, find one product that you might sell for $1. And $1 US is where, the number that I'm using. And if you even were to sell to 10% of the tourists in this island, you would be selling 400 to 1,000 US dollars worth of goods, which is 60 million Jamaican dollars if you do a, and that's a significant business plan for anybody who is, and that is just one product at $1. So when you think of it like that, there is tremendous opportunity for Jamaicans in tourism.
Okay, great. That brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for joining us today, Mr. Russell.
You're welcome.
Thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Join us next week when we conclude our discussion on how the local tourism sector has been rebounding from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Take care and see you soon.